Our featured guest tonight is the head chef of the Saws chain of restaurants and has built a remarkable reputation as a chef across the state of Alabama. He recently competed in the largest culinary competition in the world, held in Dallas, Texas, and won the category of Best Chef. Now, he will compete in the final table phase of the competition this year. We caught up with Matthew Statham via Skype to chat about good food, tips for cooking at home, and the World Food Cooking Championships. Here's that interview. So Matthew, welcome to the weekly show. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, who you are?
Matthew Statham. I'm living right now in Fultondale, just a little bit outside of Birmingham, Alabama. Grew up partially in Tuscaloosa and then partially in Locust Fork, which is kind of in the middle of nowhere. So it's a little bit of a culture shock. Right now, I am the, depending on who you ask, I'm the general manager, basically the corporate chef of Saul's Barbecue. So I kind of float between the stores, just depending where I'm needed.
Now, it always amazes me to learn about a chef's journey because it's kind of a unique and demanding field. You got long hours, you got stressful environments. So tell us a little bit about your journey. Did it start at a young age?
Really, yeah, because my grandmother always cooked. I was always in the kitchen with my mom, so I credit definitely those two with giving me the foundation and the love of food. I actually started rather late in life doing it professionally. Did about 10 years went to college, decided I didn't like my major, went into retail for a little bit. Really didn't enjoy that a whole lot at all. And then afterwards it was like, hey, I've always really enjoyed cooking, so maybe I can go make a career out of this. And so that was kind of where we ended up.
Now, your journey has taken you across the state of Alabama into a lot of different cuisines. What are some of the best things you've learned about food and cooking from those different restaurants and experiences?
It really has been interesting because everywhere I've went have been so different. So, I was in Mobile, actually for a couple of years. We ran a cafe down there, and a lot of that was just picking up, a lot of the regional influences from Mobile. So we learned a lot of Cajun Creole. So, we made gumbo once a week as a special. So that really helped there. And then when I was back in Birmingham, I did a little private club. So we did a little more higher end stuff, but then there was a lot more demanding as far as the customers go. So it was a lot of custom stuff. So we got to play a little bit. And then coming to Saws, it's, completely different again, because it's way more towards my roots as far as like Southern food. We do a lot of barbecue, but we also kind of twist it with some Southern stuff. So it feels comfortable, like what you had when you were growing up. So it really has been fun just being able to do a little bit of everything. And I think that's definitely helped, round me out as far as what I can do in a kitchen now.
Now, what would you say are some of the favorite things that you like to cook when you're at home or with family? I mean, are they different than the things you do in your restaurants?
A little bit. I still do some, but I don't do nearly as much barbecue as I used to now that I'm everyday barbecue. We still hit, the high holidays of barbecue. So, we still, 4 or 5 times a year, I'm still making something. But I enjoy grilling. Because you're inside so much. So it's nice to be able to just go outside and cook. So I enjoy grilling a good bit. Pretty good bit of seafood. My wife's a really big seafood fan, so I don't do a lot of that in the restaurant, but we get to do a good bit more of that at home. So it really just varies. Lots of days we eat, grilled cheese and soup, so it's not always glamorous.
We grow a lot of our own herbs and stuff at our place. Do you guys grow a lot of your own produce and herbs?
I don't have a huge yard. My parents do, my grandparents do, so I'm lucky enough to be able to get some of that from them. From where we're at, we have kind of a little container garden, so I try to grow herbs. We've got some kale back there now if we can keep the dog out of it. But for the most part, it's just herbs.
Now, as a layperson, everybody's got certain things that they love to kind of cook on their own. There are certain things I kind of know how to cook really well, certain things my wife does incredible with.
Right.
Is there kind of let's put it this way. Are there any tips you can give to a guy like me to be able to cheat to kind of up my cooking game?
Really, try not to overcomplicate it. like I know that you see this stuff and everybody in their head thinks that it has to be all so complicated, especially where we are. If you can just take the really, really good quality, produce, meats, everything you can get locally and just try not to screw it up. Like simple preparations will get you so much farther than trying to overcomplicate everything. That's in my opinion.
Are there any specific, for lack of a better way of putting it, cheater spices or herbs that's going to up certain types of things consistently? Like, for example, my wife, she found that she uses this garam masala with lamb.
Yeah.
With lamb. She'll do it with lamb lollipops, and it's the bomb.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Oh, it's phenomenal. Are there certain things that you can, that certain things always kind of go great with something that people just don't think about normally? I
would say I don't really have a lot. I'm a little more simple. I'm a big believer in just season your food, taste your food. Salt and pepper are your really good friends. I do use a lot of fresh herbs. I'm pretty partial to thyme, especially when doing most like pan sauces. Rosemary to an extent sometimes, but it can be a little overpowering. So I think the biggest thing is just to kind of experiment, and figure out what you like. And then I actually use barbecue rub a whole lot of places that you normally wouldn't use it. Just like we make fried pork chops, we put barbecue rub on it just because it hits, all the parts of your tongue.
That makes sense. Now, you've found some amazing success over at Saw's Barbecue in Birmingham. How did that opportunity come about? What made you decide that was the place to be?
It really was. They had just opened the store in Avondale, and I had been over here a couple of times. And I have a buddy who on the side sells smokers. And he just through a kind of professional, kind of eating dinner, met with Mike Wilson, who's our primary owner, who's Saw. Mm-hmm. And Mike was like, hey, I kind of need somebody to oversee this stuff. Do you know anybody? And so I got a call from him. He's like, yeah, I know this guy. So he calls. And I'd been over here. I was a big fan of the food, and I sat down with him and Brandon, who's our owner, one of our primary owners in Avondale, and it just clicked. Like, it just made sense. It was a restaurant ran by chefs making really good food, and so it just seemed like a really natural progression for me.
Well, we are going to go to a break so we can pay some bills, and then after the commercial break, we're going to come back. I want to talk to you about the World Food Championships.
Very good. Sounds good.
We'll be right back.